Hey, Laura.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
You're really making me jealous with that sun. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful here today. I'm actually sitting outside because there's nowhere inside to sit. So I've got 3 kids that are all doing school and my husband's on meetings. So
yeah,
I've been banished to the balcony.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you...
Yeah. Thank God it's not raining.
Well, yeah, but you are in Northern Italy. I would hope that
Yeah.
it wouldn't be raining.
Yeah, we had a massive storm yesterday with hail and everything. So, yeah.
You wouldn't believe it looking at it. Anyway,
Yeah,
it's really good to see you, and thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. It's going to be a good chat. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
Just before we jump in, I just wanted to give everyone a bit of a reminder, really, in context to what we're doing here with Pioneering Spirit. And really, I think, because it's interesting, we're now talking to you as a business, whereas before we've just been talking to specialists, and now we're sort of turning the tables and now talking to businesses and really tapping into your experience. And it's just a reminder to say that Pioneering Spirit for us is really about tapping into what is at the moment a tough time for everybody, but it's a tough time particularly those young businesses who are trying to forge their new path. And I think we all agree that when you're starting out, by your very nature, you're a pioneer. I mean, it's in our name in that sense. And for us, it's kind of, I've never spoken to a business in this time so far that doesn't want to make it through. And I think that's the important thing, that no one's looking to give up. It's kind of, there's a little bit of luck and a lot of skill and a lot of, looking around to everybody else and seeing what they're doing and hopefully learning from that process as well, which is what we're trying to do by launching Pioneering Spirit, which is to give businesses as much support as possible that we can glean for our own network, to offer up some practical tips and advice that hopefully they can take and use as inspiration and jumping off points for their own businesses. So, as I say, in that sense, up until now, we've been chatting to specialists within the network. We'll continue doing that. But what we're hoping to do as well is reach out to the businesses we work with, the clients that we work with, like yourself, and learn from your experiences. Yeah. And on that note, your experience is quite incredible at the moment, in the sense you're in the process of launching Aken. I'm going to get it right now. I'm going to pronounce it correctly. I've been pronouncing it wrongly apparently up until now, which is embarrassing. And that is a pregnancy and post-pregnancy clothing rental brand, which is really interesting and particularly speaks to me, really tapping into this idea of style and waist, right? When you're when you're pregnant, which I can say myself is a big challenge. And having just my 3rd baby, I know that I personally was still using clothes that I'd had with my first baby that I kind of bought in a rush when I realized that I couldn't fit into my normal clothes. And I didn't like any of them, but by the 3rd time round, there was no way I was going to buy new stuff. And so I was ending up sort of just dealing with what I had. Not particularly stylish, not particularly anything I wanted to wear, and I ended up, for those special occasions, for those who want to feel special, kind of borrowing from friends because I did not want to waste. So I personally totally get it, but talk to us about the concept first and how you landed on the idea.
Okay, well, I mean, like you, I've got 3, and by my 3rd pregnancy, my clothes from the first one were utter rags, and I really couldn't wear them. And it was deeply painful having to go out and buy some new stuff. And also because I'm really into sustainability, it really hurt that all I could afford was the fast fashion throwaway stuff. So I was kind of mulling over it. I'd done a clothes swap with friends and things, and none of that yielded much. Everyone was in the same boat, fairly worn out clothing by the time any of us got to it. And I knew there had to be a better way. But I had to park the idea for a while because I was dealing with other things and, newborn babies and toddlers and things. And then last summer, I was talking with some other friends who were currently pregnant. They were talking about the same problems. I thought, well, okay, let's really get our heads together on this. And I'd been talking about luxury and, the new market in terms of renting luxury goods. And it occurred to me that maternity is the ideal scenario for this kind of model as well. Because it gives women access to a much better quality of clothing, much more stylish clothing. It brings those brands that do produce this amazing stuff it to a much wider audience.
Yeah.
And it just, economically and sustainability wise, it makes a lot more sense. So, I started doing a bit of market research, realized, yes, there are probably enough women out there who would consider it, that it makes it worth going into. So from December, I sort of threw myself into it full time. By mid-February, we were on partial lockdown in Veneto region. And by first week of March, it was complete lockdown. And my suppliers, who are mostly based here in Italy, had said, yeah, we're a bit stuck. We can't actually fulfill orders. Yeah. So I was thinking, God, what am I going to do? Is this a case of saying, okay, let's just ditch this idea or put it on hold until, autumn or whenever things start to come out of it again, and just focus on, building a bit of social media presence and that kind of thing. So I was doing that, but at the same time, I was also taking a bit of time to reflect on, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? How are we going to get through this? And the more I thought about it and, discussed with my business advisors and things, the more I realized that it's actually a really sound principle. And even though pregnant women right now are probably quite happy being able to stay at home in a pair of leggings and a big baggy t-shirt, they're going to have to get out at some point. And everyone's in a much more constrained financial position too. So are you really going to go out and blow a couple of £100 on a shirt or a pair of trousers if you don't have to?
Absolutely.
So I thought, right, we've got to just keep going and keep preparing for what we can. And sent off the first order last week, which is just amazing. That's been received. So we'll see how happy she is with what she's got.
So tell us quickly, before we go forward, how does it work then? So it's a rental process, do you have a subscription process? Or?
Yes, I've got two options. So either you can just, take a flexible approach and you just pick out what you like and rent it once, rent it for a week or a month and then send it back. Or you can adopt a subscription, which gets charged month by month. And each month you pick out a certain number of pieces and, enjoy wearing them for the month and then send them back, exchange them for the next sort of stage of your pregnancy and the next sort of things that fit what you need at that particular moment in time. And the subscription model obviously is, cheaper than just doing it on a flexible option. But yeah, both of them should work.
Fantastic. I'm so jealous. There's no reason to have a fourth child, but there is a little bit of being when you started a couple of years ago. Amazing. So you've got to this point where you're probably now considering that in fact it's worthwhile still pushing forward at this point. Yeah. So how did your plan for launch change at this point? Did you adapt anything that you planned already?
Well, yes, because we had a photo shoot booked in Paris for mid-March to showcase all of our lovely new stock, which got cancelled. So we're currently struggling with no photos other than what the suppliers have been able to send us, and no big all singing, all dancing launch, of course. So what I've decided is we will, we're kind of approaching in a two-stage process right now. So we've gone live anyway, and just trying to be really active with developing the content of the website, enhancing actually some of the longer term vision I had for this business, bringing that forward. So much more about creating a community of for resources for pregnancy, tips, contacts with specialists, that kind of thing, developing all of that, developing some of the social and charitable links that I had planned to do longer term. But again, I've just pulled those right forward and said, let's forge these partnerships now. So all of that's going on. And, obviously the site is live. I just haven't really been advertising it at this stage. We may do some kind of bigger launch later on, but it's going now. What I had thought was really the things that made me sort of change my mind and to keep going were some of the lessons that I'd highlighted in the little bit that I wrote for you, which was about making sure you're not doing this alone and making sure your business connects with your values, being resilient, building resilience, and being relevant. And going through all of those and realizing that everything still holds true now compared to what I was thinking back in December. That made me feel like, we don't just put off launch. we just go for it and see how it goes. It's not, I mean, right now I'm so lucky because I don't have big overheads. You know, I'm not paying for premises that I can't use. I'm not paying for staff that I can't afford at this stage. So, you know, it's all being run very lean and small.
And it's, I guess in that sense, it's about being in it for the long game, which is, you know, which is a strategy in itself, and something you highlight in your tips and recommendations, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, you're right. It's about keeping that lean so that you retain, I suppose, the stamina so you get through this. In order then to be able to, and still investing, as you say, in building that community and the groundwork, so to speak, that will stand you in good stead for, stand you in very good stead for when we hopefully come out the other side. That makes a little sense.
Yeah, I think someone had said early on, you know, think about how you want to be remembered at the end of this. So, focus on that, and you know, don't focus on the panic of the moment. But rather you still got to keep your eye on that future when we're no longer stuck indoors, and hopefully are all healthy and well again. Yeah, no, absolutely.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the recommendations that you've highlighted in your piece, and that you're learning, should one say.
Yes. Learning by doing, learning as I go.
Yeah, there's no beauty of hindsight in this. You're learning on the cuff. So you mentioned them just now, but talk us through them.
Okay, so number one was don't go it alone. You know, the trouble is when you're launching a business or a small business, even if you've been going for a little while, quite often you're either on your own or you've got a very tiny team with you. And, you know, when confronted by crisis, you really do need some diversity of perspective and some diversity of experience to draw on. And, you know, as a small business, you just don't have that luxury. So, like, one of the first things I did was start up a network of other small businesses to kind of give each other support as we're going through this. So we have a weekly Zoom call. It's an incredibly diverse group geographically, what we do for our businesses. You know, we've got people from Kazakhstan, from Canada, from France, from Italy, all chatting once a week. And it's been so useful because everyone's bringing their own perspective, their own fears. It's, even though we don't all know each other, or we didn't know each other that much before, it's just been a really useful place that we can be completely open and honest and talk about what we're worried about or what we're thinking, or, you know, where we think this world is going. So it's been really, really rich from that perspective. And, you know, out of it's come some tremendous ideas for, you know, for various of the businesses who are struggling. You know, how are they going to get through it? We've been able to help each other as well as just give that support. So that's been, you know, I think it's a vital thing, and I would like to keep that going even beyond COVID, because it saves you from waking up at 3 a.m. talking to yourself about what you're worried about.
Quickly.
And then, you know, there's the tip about connect with your values. And I think, always, if you're starting a business, you've got to be doing something you believe in and something that really aligns with who you are and what you value. But now more than ever, it's just really hard time. So if you don't love what you're doing, if you're not passionate about it, and if you don't really believe in it with all your heart and soul, it's incredibly hard to get out of bed and keep going. So
and I think it's interesting, that particularly interesting points. I think that definitely shows through. And as you were saying in the beginning, you know, in these times, you want to be what do you want to be remembered for? And if you're not putting your heart and soul into it, it's not coming through. Then people won't connect with your brand, and if they're not connecting with your brand right now, then then it's a slippery slope. So no, it's absolutely true. I think people need to have a long, hard look at that one there and considering what's going forward.
You know, it's interesting actually, because even, you know, the first couple of sessions you've done of the pioneering spirit, you know, that same message has come through quite loud and clear about the need for being authentic, and for being, you know, your brand or what you do really has to be about who you are as well. And so I think, you know, in a way, lucky for me, I'd taken a bit of time way before COVID hit to really reflect on what I wanted to do next. You know, we'd been through 2 international moves in 3 years and taken kids through 3 different school systems. So I'd already said by move number 3, I'm going to take some time out and think about what's next for us all. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, by the time this arrived, I was completely sure that this is the right way forward right now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the next step is on be relevant. And again, this is something that's come out so much in a lot of the discussions around, you know, how to respond to COVID. Because for so many of us now, you know, if you're thinking back to like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we've all slid back down pretty much to the very bottom of that pyramid. You know, we're now about, you know, physical security and health security and food security and things like that. You know, it's very fundamental, basic things that we need. And, you know, as we emerge, we're going to all start going back up again. But I think we're also going to be a lot more selective about how we choose to do that. And so what services or products we offer as businesses has to be relevant to how that world is changing. And I think, you know, personally, I see a change towards, you know, less consumption, less clutter, more consideration of what we're doing and how we're doing it and how we choose to use our time and our money. And so, you know, we really need to do things that actually are beneficial in some way. And so I think sustainability will continue to grow in importance. And I think things like the sharing economy habits we'd already started developing, I think they will continue. And so we should see more of these sort of rental models of consumption of, you know, even, you know, renting camera parts, for example, or I don't know, IT kit, I don't know, but you know, rather than always switching over to the new things, it's looking around to how we repurpose. I think one of your businesses as well that
Click,
has
exactly.
Click, yes,
Really
you know,
interesting model, exactly, around refurbished tech and and rental and subscription based rather than, as you say, just consuming and throwing away and not even giving a second thought to how that was produced or what's going to happen to it afterwards. And it's applicable across the board, and we've got to stop. So it's no, I absolutely agree with you. I think we will. We've been forced to give ourselves a bit of a talking to, if you like, and I hope at least the vast majority of people are starting to think like that. And if the businesses are there for them to engage with, then it can only but become more positive and grow from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that kind of connects to another of the things I've learned from this experience, which is about taking the time that you need. So taking that time to reflect, taking that time to think about your relevance and your authenticity. You know, I think so much of starting a business is about that hustle factor and, you know, racing through and being hyper productive. And, you know, there is always a million things to do. But I think now is a great time to just stop and say, let's think about, make sure that what we're doing, we're actually doing with purpose and intent, and that it's doing something, it's using our energies in a way that is really constructive. So yeah, it's kind of like being smarter about how we use our time.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I think my final point was around resilience, which is kind of summing up all of the previous ones. It's got elements of all of it, because resilience is not just about charging headlong no matter what. It's about really understanding what's the crisis in front of you and being real about it, and, you know, identify the problem, understand its real implications. Can you cope with it? And if you can, you know, because I'm talking about financially, if you don't have cash to get you through, then, you know, you really are stuck. But if you do have enough cash, if you have managed to cut your costs and just get through this period, then you can actually start to look for opportunities and, you know, think about what assets you actually have in terms of your business model, your own skill sets and all of that stuff to help you adapt and innovate and keep going through a crisis. And then also reflecting on what you're learning as you're going, because that constant reflection is helping you to build resilience as well.
A big part of building resilience is obviously experience. If you're if one is a first-time founder, you know, how do you feel that one can best sort of learn on the cuff, so to speak, learn on the hoof as they're, you know, as they're going through this process?
Yeah, well, that comes very much back to don't go it alone. Connect with people, because by, you know, I see it as like plugging into the bigger brain. If you can draw on the experience of other people, it puts you miles ahead because someone has been through it before. So, you know, I think this is a great time. I found actually right now is such a good time for networking and connecting with people from all different walks of life, all sorts of experience, just because they've got a bit more time on their hands now as well. So,
yeah,
you know, there's some, you know, very seasoned entrepreneurs out there and very seasoned people as part of that whole startup ecosystem who are saying, yeah, sure, I'll have a chat with you. No problem.
yeah.
It's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a lovely thing as well, I think. You know, it's bringing out the best. I like to think it's bringing out the best in people, but particularly, you know, particularly for businesses as they're trying to find their way in the world. It's essential because it's a nerve-wracking time, particularly when you're A, going it alone, which if you don't have a co-founder, then it's particularly nervy. But B, also, if this is your first time, it's very easy to wobble and jump ship and take the slightly safer path. But
which may actually be the right thing for you. But
it may, but then that comes back down to, you know, talking to people and understanding whether or not, you know, weighing up your options, so to speak. And seeing, you know, on balance with the business, with personal circumstances, what makes the most sense for the future. Many unknowns we're dealing with. Incredible. So what's next for you at the moment?
Well, it's it's just keeping plugging on. I've got a to-do list of, you know, a million things. Yeah.
I know you do this very well.
Yeah, it's there is so much to do just in terms of the nuts and bolts, you know, still sorting out kinks in the website. You know, I've reached out to Engineers for Pioneers for some marketing help because we've got a digital marketing strategy. I've also got a consultant on board for social media to help with that because I'm a complete novice when it comes to social media. So I think, you know, one of my big learnings of doing this whole process is being able to say, yep, I don't know anything about this, so who can help me?
And plugging into the right people.
Yeah. So again, it's trying to be judicious in using the few resources I've got. But, you know, I think things like the marketing and the communications are so important at this time. So, yeah, that's
Absolutely.
where I'm putting my efforts, all the money. So,
yeah, which obviously we'd say that's the right thing to do, but I think you're right. And I think, you know, as we've said in this conversation so far, you know, the engagement to this point, and we've talked about this a number of times already, and we will go on to talk about it in further conversations, pioneering spirit conversations, you know, engaging with your potential community, building that community, but engaging with them, continuing conversation right now in a dare I say, authentic way, a much overused word, but you know, that it brings true at this point, is essential. You know, people really want that. I think people really want that human contact for anything else, and really want to be able to feel like they're taking part in someone else's journey. But also something that they truly believe in, and we were starting to see a lot of it before this happened. But I think it's even, you know, exacerbated everything. I think it's been, you know, sped up through this process. But that's one of those things which I certainly think is the case. So, you're absolutely right to invest at this point in the marketing, getting the message out there, and starting to build some energy behind it that you can then take and work on from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I think would be going on anyway. You know, it's like that cranking that flywheel. You know, it's really slow to get the momentum going, and then it'll take off. But I think, you know, pre-COVID, we all believe that step kind of happens overnight, and but this period is giving everyone that reality check that it actually takes a lot of hard work, a lot of time and effort and genuine engagement to get it moving forward. So.
Completely. Incredible.
Yeah.
So how can people find you?
Oh, well, we've got our website, which is acapip.com.
Spelled AKAPIP.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. And via Instagram, of course, and as aka__pip. So, yeah, there is someone called Akapip on Instagram, and yeah, that was a bit disappointing, but it had taken us so long to get this name, so I just thought I'm not changing again.
Just before we start, tell us about the name. It's interesting.
Oh, so yeah, because originally the name was going to be Rocket and Coco after my sisters and my dogs, and I'd started, communicating that, and I'd registered the trademark, and then I had Chanel send me a letter saying, sorry, but you just cannot use the word Coco in your brand name. Because I'm dealing in fashion, it was viewed as direct competition and sort of riding off their reputation. So even though I said, well, hang on, I'm only in maternity, you're not in maternity, they'll say, yes, but people can think that it's a,
connection with Chanel.
Yeah, a connection with Chanel, that you're doing a partnership or something. So they were actually quite flattering. They said, they use the terms, they think that we're doing a really cool partnership with you. So it's okay, well, that's all right. And in future, I'd love to do that with you. But yeah, so anyway, at the end of the day, I can't use the name Coco. So we had to go back to the drawing board on the name. And yeah, without Coco, Rocket just had no relevance. So we thought about it. And so then my son, James, he's quite creative. And he had always had this expression of saying, he said, always keep a pineapple in your pocket, which is the acronym of Akapip. What he meant by that was always have something lovely with you, something you'd like for those unexpected occasions. And I thought, in a way, that kind of reflects what we're doing, because for pregnant women, you've got a wedding coming up or a party or something, and you've got nothing to wear, but you can get access to something really easily through us. So it's like your little secret pineapple in your pocket. So
that explains the pineapple in the logo. Got
yeah. Yes.
Lovely.
So, yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lara, so much. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you,
It's an
Bryony.
incredibly valuable conversation that I know will help a lot of people. So good luck.
All right. Thank you.
And we'll speak soon.
Yep. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.